Hello and welcome to this video. First of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to all my subscribers out there. I've noticed over the weekend just now I've gone over 500 subscribers, so I just want to say a huge thank you for that and really appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying some of the content I put out. Just want to apologise for the lack of content recently. It's had a sort of rough few months, so I've not been able to put out any meaningful videos at the moment, but that's hopefully changing now. Starting with this video where we look at Andrews and Arnold's L2TP VPN service. In this video, I'm going to do a review of Andrews Arnold's L2TP VPN service. So Andrews Arnolds are a UK-based ISP or internet service provider, and they've launched in 1998, so beginning for about over 25 years now, as you can see on the site here. And they primarily offer broadband and telephony services. So they offer over fibre to the cabinet, fibre to the premises, Ethernet, dedicated lines, VoIP and mobile services you can see there. The broadband offering is a little pricey. If you went for their sort of native broadband service. But what they offer is something interesting, is they offer some lower priced services. For example, VoIP, you can get a VoIP number for about £2.40 a month. But the service we're interested in today is the L2TP service. So if you have a look at this, so they have a number of different packages here. So what is it? So the L2TP service essentially provides a VPN service to their internet. So it's basically an over-the-top internet connection. So L2TP is a protocol for VPN, and the service they offer is not encrypted. But that's not as bad as it sounds. I'll explain about that in a bit. Well, what it gives you is, like I said, it's a connection to their internet. So the other side of the tunnel is basically an internet connection through their end, and you get as you can see there, a single static IPv4 and IPv block, and there is on the business package options for an additional /39 block of IPv4. So this is where it comes handy. So the reason why I'm able to use it, and it's one of probably the main use cases for this type of service, is the fact that the internet service I'm on at the moment, which is actually a test with full fibre, I suddenly got switched from having a public IPv4 address, actually I think it was /29 block to myself, suddenly went from that to CGNAT the other week. So CGNAT stands for Carrier Grade Network Address Translation, and it's becoming more and more common these days with a lot of internet service providers, especially ones that are newish to the market. Because the IPv4 addresses have been exhausted, you can't actually buy new ones officially from the registrars. You just have to sort of buy them from other companies at a premium. So that means that there's not a lot to go around, especially these newer providers. So the solution that they've had to put in place is something called Carrier Grade Network Address Translation, or CGNAT. What that basically means is you've got a few customers showing the same IP address. So if you've got an internet service through a provider that's got CGNAT, when you do a my IP, you're sharing your public IP address with so many other customers, and that obviously can cause problems in itself. One of the biggest problems with that is because you haven't got your own routable address, you can't do any inbound services. So say if you wanted to run a web server from home or some sort of remote access back into your home, you can't. There's no direct inbound connection there because there's essentially another router between you and the internet, and you get a non-public IP address on your router at home, and that is then translated to and put behind one IP address shared amongst several customers. Other things that can happen with CGNAT, and if you don't want to have inbound services, it can cause issues with things like, I believe, Xbox and some other gaming consoles that get a bit fussy with being sort of natted behind connections. And also you can have things like rate limiting hit as well, because obviously a lot of people are sharing the same IP address in some cases. Some services are fussy like that. Even Google, you get the old catch fizz and things like that, which could be annoying. So in my case, although a lot of the time I can get away with not having a static IP address on a public routable IP address or IPv4 address, there are still some inbound services I still use, primarily VPN services back into my house. I've got a couple of site-to-site VPNs, and also I've got an open VPN configuration where I can dial in from my phone or my laptop, so I can be at someone else's house or away and dial back into my home network and access basically everything on my home network through that, as well as reading through my internet connection. So it's basically like I'm at home but away. So that's the sort of headaches I had, and also as well, the other thing I do is use my public IP address as a way of whitelisting. So I do sort of remote monitoring of families' routers and so forth. Obviously, having a router open to the whole internet is a bad idea, but I have it locked down so the router's ping or management interface is only open to my IP address here. So if another IP address trying to get on it, you wouldn't get on. So it's a way of sort of whitelisting to certain firewall things to my IP address. So having a static IP address in some of my cases is still a requirement of mine. So I needed to have because full fiber, when they said they put me onto this different part of the infrastructure, and they said it's not possible to assign a static IPv4 address, and IPv6 wasn't an option either. So I was left with trying to find a sort of another solution for these things I just talked about. So one of the things I got recommended by someone was this Andrews Arnolds L2TP service. So I thought it looked quite interesting. So you can see, so they've got 3 different packages here. They've got domestic, which is the one I've gone for, which is speeds capped at 400 megabit a second. You get a single static IPv4 and IPv6 block, £10 a month, and you get a 5 terabyte limit, which realistically I'm not going to hit that for the traffic that's using this connection. So that's an ideal to me. As I say, they've got business packages as well that go up to a slightly higher speed of 600 meg a second for £15 a month. That's ex-VAT, so you have to put VAT on top of that. But you do get a 10 terabyte limit and options to request a /39 block, which is handy if you want more than one IPv4 address. Again, these are sort of things that are a rarity, because Andrews and Arnold's was established in the late 90s. They're obviously lucky and got a big block of IP addresses. They do offer a light service as well, which is capped at 3 megabits a second. Now you might think, well, okay, what use is that? Can it be? But if you think about it, so some of the use cases of this, obviously needing a static IP address, say for remote management, you might have, I don't know, a piece of equipment that's hanging off a mobile broadband line or some other connection where it's behind CGNAT or something similar. It hasn't got a static IP address, but you need to securely be able to remote into that device. be it for SSH or so forth, where it doesn't need a lot of bandwidth, but you just need that IP address. That's why this package is here. And again, that's nice and cheap, £2 a month exFAT, of a cap of 1 terabyte, which if it's for that use case, that'd be perfect for that. Because obviously a lot of mobile networks are CGNAT by default now. And even if you can change the APN settings, say on free to free internet, to get a public IPv4 address. It's not going to be static, so you can still run into problems with that as well. So you can see here they've obviously outlined the different use cases. Like I said, with carrier grade NAT being the main thing of it. It also, as well, the other thing it does is it provides another sort of a backup connection, even though it runs on top of your obviously your own internet connection. Because it's providing like another route out, you can set your gateway to this. I'll show you in a bit about that. You can basically you can use this as your internet connection, if that makes sense. So because Andrews Arnolds a high quality ISP, which is why you pay a lot of money for the native broadband service. They've got good peering links, good reliability, everything like that, and really good support. So you can essentially use their internet without having to use their internet. If that makes sense. But there's different use cases for that. As you can see here, they go into basically what I've just been talking about here as well. I think there's like a one-off charge. It's about £2.40. One-off charge just to activate it, and then it also goes to the £10 a month. You can see as well. The thing I like about Andrews Arnolds is they give you, it's good for techie people. They give you when you sign up, they give you a load of information. They give you a load of log into their control panel, and you can see your connection. But like these sort of graphs, so you can see the data rates going through, and latency, everything like that. And they can even send you alerts if the connection goes down. So one of the questions you might be wondering is, why is it not encrypted? Well, the reason why they give, and it makes sense in a way, obviously encryption adds a overhead, so you can make things a bit slower on both ends, because obviously, at the client end, you'd have to decrypt that data, and that can put strain on the client, be it your router or your computer that you're using it on. And if you think about it, your internet connection anyway isn't encrypted. Anyone can snoop into it if they wanted to, like your ISP does, and everything like that. So, but obviously a lot of the protocols we use, like HTTPS, for example, that is all encrypted. So you think of it just like using your internet. It's not if you wanted to be really private about something, if privacy is an issue, then obviously you're looking at a product, a sort of different kind of VPN service, like NordVPN, for example, where obviously they do encrypt their connections, and obviously that gives you different countries. Obviously that's the other thing. This is obviously just for the UK and in the UK. So when you connect to this VPN, you're still in the UK, as it were, rather than so other VPN services you can buy that obviously you can hop around different countries. So it's not a replacement for that. Okay, so let's have a look how it's sort of set up. So the way I've got it set up at the moment is I've got my pfSense router or firewall, and you can see just down here, I've got all my network interfaces. So I've got my main RAN connection, and you can see there the telltale sign of a CGNAT, the private IP address, so the 100 sort of address rather than a public reachable address assigned to that interface from the ISP there. I do also have a backup 5G connection on Freeze network. Again, that's it's got that NATed behind the router, the mobile broadband router. And you can see at the bottom here, slightly different icon there, and that's the Andrews Arnolds connection there. You can see it's been up for about 10 days, or just over 10 days, and you can see we've got a proper public IP address. So if we go into interfaces, so you can see it. I've got it assigned to the actual interface on pfSense is assigned to the VPN interface. So the way you set it up in pfSense is going to be different to to what router, but it's quite easy. In here, to go to PPP and basically set up an L2TP connection. Put the username and password in. You get given by Andrews and Arnolds. And then that's what you do in this bit, you save that. Now what I've done here is, you can see I've got a couple of interfaces selected. That's because the cool thing you can do, especially in pfSense, you probably do it in other routes as well, something called multi-link connection, PPP connection. So this is where, because I've got two physical internet connections, obviously my main full fiber connection and my 5G backup connection. So the idea of this is if the main full fiber connection goes down, it goes on to it automatically fails over to 5G. This L2TP service will automatically fail over. So that means things, inbound things like a VPN and all that will still work, and it's a seamless experience for like sites like VPNs and everything like that. So it's really handy, and that's something that, again, you wouldn't get even if when I've had a static or a public IPv4 address on one of my connections, on my main connection. If I had a scenario where I've had to fail over to my redundant connection, my 5G connection, well, that's not got a static IP address, and even if it did, it'll be a different one. So again, this gets around that issue of that it provides that seamless service because it just auto reconnects. As long as you've got an internet connection, it'll reconnect. So that's another benefit of having this service here. So once you've done that and you've assigned it to an interface, you can go into that interface, and then pfSense is quite good. It automatically sets sort of the MTU and MSS settings behind the scenes, so not had to tweak them at all. And you just put the remote IP address is the one they give you to connect to, so that's there. And you leave the local IP address blank because it assigns you that automatically. And then set the block private and Bogan because I'm treating it as a RAN interface basically. So that's all I put in there really. So, and you can see as well, if I go on to routing, you can see it appears there as a gateway, and what you can do is you can even use that as your main default gateway. Now to the Andrews and Arnolds for my default IPv4 gateway, and we'll apply that. We'll see what sort of performance we're getting through it. So at the moment on my 5 gigabit connection, I'm sort of testing for full fiber, so it's 5 gigabit symmetric. But obviously this Andrews and Arnolds connection is limited to 400 megabits a second. So if I refresh this now, we'll see if, you can see it's changed now to my Andrews and Arnolds IP address. And if we restart speed test app there, you can see now it's detecting it as AAISP. I'm going to pick one I know is a bit faster. If we go to Vodafone, so we'll see what that's like. Normally pretty good for speed. So you can see latency wise, it's about 16 milliseconds, and going from a full fiber connection, it's normally around 10 to 11 milliseconds. So it's only adding on about 5 to 6 max, so it's not too bad. So you can see there we're getting 390 down and just over a gig up, which is interesting. So it looks like they're not, I don't know if it's intentional, but they're not limiting their upload speed. Let's try Bracknell. It's a little bit of a higher ping there, but so you can see download speed on this one, so you can see it's holding it back to around 390. You sort of see how it's sort of limiting it, but that's fine. I'd say that's totally acceptable for what I'm paying for. Again, the upload speed's pretty decent. So yeah, performance-wise, if you just go onto BBC's website, so you see it's snappy. It's not really accurate, I find, but so yeah, 380. So yeah, that's about right. It's about right. Again, latency is perfectly acceptable. So you can see the upload again. We're getting over a gig. So it's pretty consistent with the speed test on that. Yeah. So yeah, so like I said, from a review point of view, I'm impressed. Yeah, £10 a month might seem pricey to some, but if this is your only option of getting a static IPv4 address, and you need that sort of bandwidth, up to 400 meg bandwidth, obviously, if you only need, depends what your use case is, you might be able to get rid of the light package, for example, but I think for what you're getting and, the redundancy and everything, it's, I'm quite impressed with it, especially, yeah. So like I said, for people who are stuck on CGNAT, and having problems with that for one reason or the other, and there's no option to get a static IPv4 address from your provider, and that's something you need, then this service will might be for you. And the other good thing I should mention about this whole thing is you're not under a contract; it's a monthly running contract. So literally, that's why I signed up for it, just to see what it's like, and you can cancel it any time. So again, that's a bonus as well. So yeah, so like I said, I'm impressed with this. I would recommend it. It's in some cases a bit of a niche use case, but yeah, I would recommend it for people. They've got really good support as well, and they've got different guides on their website as well for different routers and everything like that, because obviously not all routers will support this service. You can use your computer, depends on the use case, but like I said, they've got all different guides of how to set it up, and you can talk to their support people. They're really nice. Like I said, that's what you're sort of paying for as well, is the support they offer. But yeah, so that's a look at the Andrews Arnolds L2TP service. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and hope to catch you in the next one.